3, 2, 1. This is the world's first ever load-bearing rope made of actual candy. And while at first it might look like I just slapped a bunch of licorice together and called it a day, in reality, making a licorice rope that works like an actual rope is a lot more challenging than it seems. Which is why, if you search for giant candy rope, all you'll find are a handful of people who made half-hearted attempts and a few that are just straight up fakes. It's easy to say you've made the world's biggest candy rope, but actually doing it is a very different story. So today, we're gonna put to rest another ridiculous question of mine. Can you make an actual rope out of licorice rope? But before we put this rope through the ultimate set of tests, I wanna take a sec to show you what we actually had to do for the past 3 months to make this project work. The ideal licorice for this project would be as strong as possible, flexible enough to weave, and accessible enough that I could get my hands on a lot of it. You can't exactly Google what licorice fits this bill, so I had to test them out myself. To measure strength, I bought 4 common kinds of licorice, cut 5-inch lengths of each, and performed 2 strength tests. First, I measured how much weight it held when bent over the hook, and next I measured how much weight it held when pulled along its length. To make them easy to compare to each other, I then converted these measurements into strength to weight ratios. As a cool side product of this, we're now able to calculate the maximum theoretical length of a single twizzler. When held by the end, that length is a surprisingly short 28.5 feet. Any longer than this, and the weight of the licorice below it will cause it to just break off at the top. After seeing the results of the testing, I wanted to use twizzlers because they perform the best. But fresh out of the package twizzlers are kind of too short and fat to weave, and I discovered you can't really remelt them or weld them together with heat either. That's because unlike gummy candy, which melts because it is a gelatin base, red licorice has a starchy wheat flour base, meaning it actually has more in common with spaghetti than it does with gummy worms. Being unable to lengthen my licorice meant I had to use a strand that starts out long, so either super ropes or licorice laces. I tweeted all my math at Red Vines on Twitter, asking for a sponsorship by way of some free super ropes. But after a couple DMs, they ghosted me. At which point, I knew I was going solo. This might have been a blessing in disguise though, because super ropes aren't actually all that strong according to my testing. So I headed to Amazon in search of a bargain on some licorice laces. These are just as strong as Broadway laces, and I got them for an absolute steal. Low-key abusing an Amazon subscribe and save promo to get myself an extra 40% off their already discounted price. Before I went full scale, I wanted to test the strength of various weaving styles. So I made a 2-strand twisted rope, a 3-strand flat braid, and a 4-strand round braid, each with a similar total number of licorice fibers. In the test, the 3 and 4-strand braids performed by far the best, so I plan to use these in combination for the final rope. These ropes are designed to bind against themselves when under load, maximizing their strength and also locking in any extraneous fibers. At this point, you might think this video is all about science, and while that's kind of true, it's also kind of not. Rope making is an art, and it's one I have absolutely zero experience with. So instead of struggling through the making of this massive rope alone, I called up my friend Jeffrey, who I knew could help me out. So here's the situation, right? This is a 3-strand, and that's your 4-strand. Jeffrey's a craftsman who knows way more about rope making and leathercraft than I could ever hope to. He also makes a ton of other stuff, and without his help, I'm not sure I would have been able to do this, so please go follow his Facebook page and check out his incredible work. As soon as the licorice arrived, we got right to work, but even for someone as experienced as Jeffrey, making a rope this big with these materials was no easy task. The mountain of licorice seemed unsurmountable at first, but bag by bag and strand by strand, the rope began to form. I handled the licorice wrangling and Jeffrey handled the weaving. We started by making 2 32-foot long 3-strand braids, making sure to keep them as consistent in thickness as possible. Then we matched them up at the ends and slid in a 2x4 to keep them in place, as Jeffrey leapt up onto the table to weave the final rope. He admitted to me while weaving that even he found this a bit intimidating, because the licorice is all basically the same color, and since it's translucent, light shines through it, making shadows less visible, making it really easy to lose track of where you are in the weaving process. Even so, we pushed through, and eventually after 2 days' work, we finally had the world's biggest licorice rope. Did you catch a big fish? Yeah. Now, while we could have technically left it just like this, I was gonna have to move it a ton while setting up my testing, and that repeated pulling and pushing on the weave could cause the rope to fall apart. As a precaution, we wrapped the rope with a handful of zip ties to help keep the fibers together, but to be clear, these don't add any additional strength to the rope. They're just there to help keep the licorice strands from shimmying out of place. At this point, the rope was done, so I thanked Jeffrey for his help, packed up the rope, and came back the next day to finally test it out. The only way to really know how strong your rope is to push it till it breaks. So I was determined to do just that. And I figured, why not start big? Yep. All right, I've got it going. We're in neutral. Make sure we're frickin' rolling. I think we are. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna call this a success if I can get from there to that pole. Let's test this thing out. 3, 2, 1, go. Come on. Yes! We got it, yes! Yes! Let's go! Oh, yes! Holy crap, guys. This is like 1,200 pounds of machine that got moved with a pile of twizzlers. That's freaking nuts. Or is it? I was absolutely thrilled that it worked, but to be honest, pulling the car felt kinda easy. You see the car pull used in ads for adhesives and here on YouTube as this epic test of strength, as if to say that pulling a car means the rope or glue or whatever can support thousands of pounds. But that's actually kind of deceptive. When you pull a car, you're not actually pulling the full weight of it. You're just overcoming its resistance to rolling, which is a much lower weight. How much lower? Well, in the case of my car, instead of 3,600 pounds, it's closer to 36. That is way less. So as impressive as it looks, it's actually not that hard to do in practice. So next time you see a test like that on TV, now you know it's complete bogus. But that also leaves us in a weird situation because we still haven't broken our rope. If I was gonna break this thing, I needed a harder test, so I packed it up and took it to a local gym to do just that. Oh, and by the way, if you think this kind of thing is cool, please don't forget to subscribe. It's free and it really helps me out, and if you change your mind, you can always unsubscribe later. We are here at Fit Club in Columbus, Ohio, where they are graciously letting us use some of their equipment to test out this ridiculous licorice rope. I am here with Ron, who is actually gonna help me do this rope thing. What's your official title, man? Like CrossFit instructor or?
Certified CrossFit trainer. I also manage this whole place and stuff like that.
That's sick. And nobody's ever come here with the licorice rope before, right?
That's correct.
All right, cool. Sick. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it to the test with a weight sled to see just kind of what it can pull. All right, we got 245s on there. All right. So that's working. So we got 85 pounds so far. That's pretty good. This is 90? 90. You think?
Yeah, you'll be able to pull one.
All right, let's try it. All right. How many pounds is this now? Plus. Holy shit. Can I even pull this? Let's find out. Holy crap! Yo! It's holding. Let's go! Let's go even more, I guess. How many is this? I don't even know if I can move this. You want to pull this? You got this. All right, run. Yeah, holy crap. Yeah, it is. That is nuts. What is this, 305 here? We maxed out the capacity of the sled at around 360 pounds, but as we know, pulling force can be kind of deceptive. So how much weight did that actually put on the rope? Based on my calculations, we put about 118.8 pounds of sustained stress on the rope. And even after that, this thing was still going. I was still determined to break this thing though, so fortunately I had a trick up my sleeve. I knew the hardest test of all would be trying to actually climb it, because not only would the rope have to support me, it would have to support the weight of the entire rope below it. If this didn't break the rope, I didn't know what would. So this is like the test rope, and this is the giant rope. We're just gonna send it. We gotta go slow. That's the thing that is gonna be the hardest part about this. I see it just stretches, that's the thing. Yeah, the rope is getting longer as I do it. Here, let me wrap, pull, wrap. So that far worked. I feel like this is long enough that we need to hang it from a higher point. I mean, frankly, this is holding together a little bit better than I anticipated. Look how big this freaking thing is. I'm so glad this didn't fall apart immediately. I was like, there are two ways this is gonna go. That's the thing that's holy shit. The higher I climb, the heavier this. Oh my God. Like, come over here. Look at this. That is just dummy big. I think we just gotta send it. Lewis unwise. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. We know this thing is climbable. We climbed it one time over there. How about then we hang up this end? Let's just give it another whirl. We got this. Grab these gloves. We're gonna do this again. New end of the rope. I'm just gonna try and be efficient. All right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It's got it, it's got it. It just held. Yeah. It's just stretching, that's all. And there it was. Finally, after everything we put it through, we managed to break the rope. By my calculations, including my weight and the weight of the licorice being supported, this rope held around 180 pounds. But why did I do this? Why make the world's largest licorice rope? I just did it because I was curious. My goal for this YouTube channel is to ask ridiculous and interesting questions and then use science to actually answer them. I don't just want to test stuff, I also want to show you why. So whether you're new here or you've been around forever, please support this content by subscribing and sharing this video with as many people as possible. And if you really don't know who to share it with, just go spam tweet it at Mark Rober. Our channel just passed 5,000 subscribers, and that milestone is huge to me, not because of the number, but because for the first time in the over 5 years that I've been doing YouTube, I feel like this is the first time I have an audience that really cares about my videos and keeps coming back for more. Hundreds of you that I've never even met are watching and enjoying this content, and I'm so glad you're here. If there's one thing I've learned from making YouTube videos, it's that you can't do it alone. While there's a lot of individual work put in, nobody on this site makes great videos without the help of others, myself included. I may have the science background and curiosity that gives me the skills and drive to create these videos, but without you, my friends, family, members of the Idea Foundry, and everyone who's ever taken a chance on me, I don't think I'd be able to make stuff half as good as what I'm making right now. I want to push science entertainment to the next level, and I know I can do it, but I also know I can't do it alone, so I'm thrilled to be building this community together. If you can afford to support me and this channel directly, you can make a monthly pledge over on my Patreon, but if you can't, subscribing and sharing these videos as widely as possible is the next best thing you can do. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.